The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
G'day world, this is the Sniper of the Skies, Robbie Eagles, and you are listening to Keepin It Strong Style.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in Barrio the Frogs. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll preview Super Junior Tag League and cover all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping It Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the network's podcasts over at socialsuplex.com. Check out our Chop Tea store, chop-tees.com/KI Strong Style. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style merchandise. There's free shipping on every order and 10% off your first order. That's chopped-tees.com/KI Strong Style. And if you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And we are streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style for IWGP subscribers. If you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, you can sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. Young boy, how you doing, man?
If you're watching live on the live stream and you see me making I'm always making weird movements and doing random shit while I'm talking on the air, which I never notice until I see the playbacks on like YouTube, and I'm like, why the fuck? What's going on? But if you see anything this time, my back is aching, so I'm using this this pressure ball to kind of get some alleviation. So if you see me if you see me squirming, like, mind your business, Yeah. We come here for the hot takes, the ratings, and the reviews. Not, it's not a peep show. It's not about looking appealing for you people.
I mean, they want it to be a peep show. I mean, add a tier on Patreon for that.
I don't know. People were in the Discord talking about if we started talking about porn on this show, and I don't know. They weren't feeling it. So I don't know if there's a market for. I don't know if there's a market for that or not.
That's not our audience.
They don't know. I'll say whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like,
I think by now people know you'll say whatever.
With that being said, were you able to fix the live show audio or whatever that I fucked up while you were gone?
Talking about the the ad-free audio?
Yeah.
No, I haven't gone back and uploaded the old ones yet. I figured by now, like, people have probably just listened to it on the free feed, and
I feel bad, bro. So just fix it.
All right. Okay, I'll do that along with you dropped 3 Tanahashi Ace of the Universe raw audio for me, so I'll be getting those up this week as well.
That was gonna be my question: is if you'd gotten to that. I know you're a busy man. I respect your time, so I get it. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, after several weeks of promising, I have delivered. So we've got 3 brand spanking new episodes of Tanahashi Ace of the Universe behind our Patreon that are going to be available as soon as Jeremy gets them uploaded, which is pretty soon. And I'm just about done with 2010, and I'm hoping to have 2011 done by this weekend or like through the weekend as well. So I'm really trying. I know we're coming down to the wire here, so I'm trying to like get like 2 a week if possible.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is like, well, a couple things. Like number one, this is more like the era of Tanahashi's career where it was more accessible to Western audiences. So even though I've always been kind of familiar with all this stuff, it's a little bit more familiar. I know a little bit more about like what to pick and choose from as far as the research. But then there's also the aspect of like some of these earlier years, I'm like wanting to make sure I pick the right match. So I'm watching like 5 matches, 6 matches through the year and picking the 2 I like the most. But like we're going to get down to the years where it's like, oh yeah, there's no doubt it's going to be the Nakamura match. It's going to be the Shibata match. It's going to be the Ishii match. Like, you know what you're, you know, so that's going to save some time there. And unfortunately, the Aces High series on, I didn't know how long it actually ran, but it just abruptly stops in the midst of like 2013 around the time the Bullet Club launches, which is unfortunate because it's a good resource for what I'm doing. I guess I'm going to have to look for other source material to see if there's anything that gets the insights of Tanahashi's like, you know, career, but I don't think there's anything that's going to be as in-depth as that series that he was doing on the New Japan website. I don't know if it was just a pandemic issue, but it just stops. And then they're like, next week episode, blah, blah, blah is coming out. And it just never came out. So that might help save some time along the way, but we're rocking and rolling. We're getting through them, and I'm hoping everybody's enjoying them, and we're going to get through that project.
Yep. So be on the lookout this week. We'll definitely get all 3 of those episodes up. Some other housekeeping business. So I did plug Chop Tees in the intro as normal.
Oh, I didn't know if we were going to tell anybody.
Yeah, I mean, so we did got the unfortunate news that Chop Tees will be closing down in the coming weeks. We didn't get an exact date. As of right now, the site is still up. You can put an order in. I was able to, you know, get some last minute stuff that I had been wanting to order and just kind of pushing it off because, you know, it'll be there. I can do it tomorrow. But unfortunately, the shop is closing down. So if you want any Keeping It Strong Style merchandise, Social Suplex merchandise that we advertise, get on there, hop on, try to place an order before the store closes down. And then we will look into what our new merchandise venue will be in the future.
Yeah, it is. Well, first, let me just say thank you to Dickie and the team over there at Chop Tees. You know, we didn't search them out. They searched us out as a brand, not just Keeping It Strong Style, I should say, but like Social Suplex as a whole, mainly through the connection with Trish and Sarah and the Tunnel Talk girls. So, you know, shout out to them. But, you know, they quickly became a fan of what we had to offer here and asked us to be part of that family, which, you know, included post wrestling and there's like Grapple. There's a bunch of other, podcasts.
The Laps Fan, I think was on there, Laps Fan podcast.
Yeah, Laps Fan. And it was really cool to, you know, to have custom material made. And I thought the service, the quality of all the clothing that was provided is really top notch. Like, it's a lot better than what you would typically get from, like, say, pro wrestling tees, like the Gildan tees. It's not, you know, this stuff is very good material, and the print doesn't wear out. Like, I just thought it was high quality for the price. And I mean, the really cool thing with it was, like, Dickie and the team, they had worked it out to where you could pretty much get this anywhere in the world, and they were going to have local distributing pretty much in what, you know, at least relatively speaking, anywhere that you were, and it was free shipping. And unfortunately, just because of the tariffs and the trade wars that have gone on, it's made it not viable for them to continue as a business. And we got that unfortunate news the other night. And, you know, I really appreciate the work that he put in, countless hours into designing very thoughtfully all the merch and going out of his way to, like, make this accessible for our audience. And then it is very, you know, it just sucks because the immense amounts of tariffs that have been placed on Australia from the US, and then, you know, what it's done to the different, like, coinage and whatever the word is, like the fiscal units that trade, like, it's just made it not viable at this point in time. Now, I will tell you this. I know that I don't know what he really wanted us to do as far as like telling people, because I know he's like, it's not like a going out of business thing or whatever. It's just, it's going to shut down. But as soon as he told me, I did go and I bought like,
say I had placed an order.
So I got like myself, I got this shirt, which I'm wearing right now. And this just came in today. I got the hoodie that he designed that he was really proud of. I got my wife a shirt that she wanted, and I got the Red Ringer tee, the other young lion tee. So I just wanted to make sure, I'm like, man, before this stuff goes away.
Yeah. So yeah, he's not going to do like a blowout closing discount sale. So as long as the site's up, go on there, order. I know like Sir Sam was saying that there were some issues. He couldn't place an order in Australia. So just go on there and check. And so far for you, there might be places you can't do it yet. Yeah, so it seems like US for sure is still up and working. So yeah, again, shout out to Dickie. And of course, I mean, there's obviously other options, but Dickie does such a great job, like you mentioned, on really making our stuff feel personal to each show, taking the time to custom make the designs and the merchandise and all different stuff. And so he did a great job just really getting to know the brands, the shows, and getting us on the platform and kind of giving us all those different options. Because I mean, obviously we can, throw a logo up on Pro Wrestling Tees, but it's so different when you have somebody that's being attentive and giving you other options besides just the plain black T-shirt that you can do at Pro Wrestling Tees and stuff like that. So
yeah, it is a sad day. I was disappointed to hear that news, and if you guys buy this stuff, fine. If not, whatever. This isn't even necessarily like a plug about like, oh yeah, like buy it because we're going out. But it's like, if you ever did want that merch, it is really, really good and cool stuff. And I don't really know what the deal is as far as like what we're gonna have access to from, because he created a lot of this. So I don't know, Jeremy, you're the boss. You'll need to talk to him about how that works. But if you did want some of that merch, it is, I will tell you legitimately, this isn't just like a sales pitch, because I'm not going to bullshit you guys. It's really, really good quality material. That's the one thing I was proud about when we got it all, was just like how comfortable and it fit well. And yeah, it was worth it. So yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Sad. Yes. But go to Chop Tees and get your merch one last time. So we had a lot of news that came.
One last time.
Finish your merch story. A lot of news last week came out of the post King of Pro Wrestling conference. A lot of stuff for Wrestle Kingdom in the upcoming months. So one of the news items that came out was the match being made official for Aaron Wolf's debut in the Tokyo Dome. So Aaron Wolf will debut against Evil at Wrestle Kingdom 20. And we had a question here from Davey Legend. He said, what do you think are the best case and worst case scenarios for Aaron Wolf's debut? There's been a lot of talk about him getting a rocket push, which a Wrestle Kingdom debut backs up. But wouldn't that essentially require him to be a wrestling prodigy at a level never before seen?
No, not necessarily. I think it's, if you grew up in the 90s and you watched like Goldberg, or you watched Taz, or you watched 911, or any number of guys that have an aura and have a presence and have a skill set that you can market, you can hide their weaknesses and accentuate the positives and get good use out of them. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's what is in fact going to happen, but I am saying there's a route and a way to do this where he doesn't necessarily have to be ready to go day one. I think we all hope that that's the case. I don't think it's likely, just because history says people in his position with his amount of training and his skill set are never, with no live show experience, are never ready on day one.
Yeah.
But he can toss guys. And if he has a presence and he's presented the right way, and I think in this particular instance, the fact that he's in there with House of Torture, I don't necessarily love it. I think there's a lot of potential pitfalls, But think about the idea, and I mentioned this last week, the idea of those guys doing the Hapkido, Steven Seagal thing. You're going to have so many bodies being able to be, bumping and selling for this guy, making him look like $1 million when the time comes. So there are some potential. In fact, wrestling evil means he doesn't need to be able to go on a high level. Like, I don't know how good the match is going to be. There's a lot of question marks, but it's a smoke and mirror situation.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying last week. Like, they put evil because they know, like, all right, he's not 100% ready. We do need shenanigans. We do need to kind of cover up and hide the weaknesses and emphasize the strength. And, as much as we hate evil and, are not huge evil fans, it's like, I mean, wrestling him, yeah, there's going to be lots of gaga. You're going to have all the run-ins, everybody coming in with their weapons and stuff like that. And kind of like you're saying, like, and kind of what we saw at King of Pro Wrestling, yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for him to just judo throw guy after guy. You have the whole clown car running out, and he just boom, judo throw, judo throw. Then you have Fale come out there. He does a big judo throw to Fale. The dome's gonna pop. Dome's gonna pop when he throws Fale down, and so it's gonna be an easy avenue because the Japanese crowd does play in to evil, and they enjoy some of their antics, and they chant evil when he's going for his finish. So that the Japanese, the domestic audience, I think they enjoy how the tortures roll, and I think it can be a vehicle to have Aaron Wolf defeat these evildoers and look strong and beat a champion. As of right now, I don't think this is officially for the Never Openweight Championship, but you could have him beat a champion and look strong on his debut.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the question of what's the follow-up going to look like? Is this going to be something that leads into a long-term sort of thing with these guys? And what does that potentially look like? And, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But the idea that this match is generating and if you guys don't know, it is generating a ton of buzz on social media over in Japan. When you look at the interactions that are being seen with the Japanese audience with this program in comparison to, say, like the title program, it's night and day. Like, this is something that people are very, very, very excited about for over there. And I think a lot of that has to do with the notoriety of Aaron Wolf, the question marks behind him, the fact that there's going to be so many eyes on him on this big stage, that there's no way, even if they do have, like shenanigans, they've got gaga, blah, 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 that's fine. What they want is that Sports Center moment where they're able to play the short clip on the news and show him just dismantling everybody. And that's like basically the money shot. That's what they're looking for here.
Right. Yeah. They're not going to send the news station the whole match. They're just going to send the 10-second clip of him throwing Fale, him throwing evil, him throwing Udro.
Right. So that now, will he win? I don't know. Will there be a follow-up? Is this going to lead to a feud? How are they going to use him long-term? Those are all still question marks, but does he need to be ready to go on day one? I hope he does. You don't want to see the situation where it's like he doesn't know how to run the ropes, doesn't know how to, lock up, doesn't know how to put on a headlock. Like, that stuff would suck, but it's not necessarily the main goal here. The goal is to get that, that B-roll footage where he's throwing everybody so they can put that on the news, and he shows up on the talk shows and they're like, let's see what you did. And he's like, that's what they're looking for there.
Yeah. And so, and back to this listener's question, I mean, worst case scenario is like, yeah, he goes out there and even with all the smoke and mirrors, craps a bed, no charisma, botches his throws, botches moves, not in the right spot, like gets hurt, like it's just a total utter disaster. Like, that's the worst case scenario.
Oh, we might want to wrap it up at that point.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen though. He's in there with pros who are going to know what to do to make him look like $1 million. And even if there's a snafu or a misstep or mistime, they're not going to let it devolve into just being a total farce and debacle. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. And best case scenario, I know a lot of people have been, criticizing his physique. I think best case scenario is that man's on that, that Tanahashi injury diet, where Tanahashi would quote unquote, be injured, go away, come back with 8-pack abs. And that's the best case. He comes out, rips the gi off, he's shredded, crowd pops, he's just throwing everybody around. He's this incredible worker, gets the win. He's a superstar that saves New Japan. That's the best case scenario.
There were some photos that just recently came out of him, basically standing outside the venue for the local WWE shows that just took place in Japan this week. And I will say his face looked slimmer. I don't know if he like looked skinny necessarily, but when you can see like the slimming in the face, I noticed that already. And I'm like, that's a good sign. But again, it's going to be a big question mark. We'll see. But, I think that if they will do a smoke and mirrors match regardless, no matter what happens here, they're going to have some sort of ace up their sleeve to cover up his shortcomings.
Yeah. Do you think he needs to win?
I don't know that he definitely needs to, but he should.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I don't think it's make or break necessarily. There's a lot. I mean, traditionally speaking, how many guys have ever, had their very first match on the big stage and actually won against a veteran? Like very few ever. But because of the notoriety behind this, because of the eyeballs that are going to be on him and everything, they might just want to go in and have him win that first match. There's plenty of time for a guy like Evil, who's at the top of the card as one of the top heels in the company, can get that win back. But on that stage, on that night, you probably want him to win, and you probably want to have something really creative in the follow-up, not just a celebration, but something meaningful that will lead to whatever the next night's ongoings are with like Dash or whatever.
Yeah. And there are ways, if they're worried about, protecting Evil, there are ways to do that. You could have Doki comes out with the pipe. He misses Aaron Wolf, hits Evil. Aaron Wolf throws Doki, throws Evil, pins him, and you have that, he got hit with the pipe kind of a thing. And so I think there's ways around if they really want to protect it. But I mean, I feel like Evil can eat even a clean. I think he can eat a clean loss, but it would be a huge rocket strap to Aaron Wolf, like you mentioned, like very rare air for somebody to be, their first match at the Dome, and then they debut at the Dome. They're beating an established guy who's a champion. So like, if that's the case, like there needs to be incredible follow up. Like he needs to go to New Japan Cup, win New Japan Cup, or go to the finals at least, and like there needs to be very strong follow up if he does get the win over Evil.
As far as a precedence goes, I will just say this, and I want to get this out of the way. This has never really worked. They've tried it a few times in New Japan. I can think of several instances where they did have guys debut as super rookies in the Dome. Manabu Nakanishi is an example. Kenzo Suzuki is another example. Obviously, Shinsuke Nakamura is another. And maybe not all in the Dome. Some of them were, but all of those guys were on prominent shows. Was there anybody? Oh yeah. And then, obviously Noya Ogawa was another example of this, although that was a little different because he was, and actually that might be more comparable because he was just brought in as like a judo superstar, to feud with Hashimoto. But every single one of those guys, even if some of them had successful careers, it didn't work the way that putting that much pressure on somebody in their very first match and having them to be expected to step into those shoes on the big stage and day one have it has never worked for them, historically speaking. The best case scenario was Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think he debuted in like 2003, 2004-ish. He really didn't figure it all out till like 2010. It took him like 6 years, a couple tours in Mexico, several IWGP title runs, several failed pushes and headline pushes that just didn't work out. It took him a long time to become Nakamura, and that was the best case example. Ogawa was a guy they drew a lot of money with, but they used him as a part-timer and as just a dome headline guy to feud with Hashimoto primarily. And he never really figured out the ins and outs of becoming a competent professional wrestler. And then the other guys, like Nakanishi, it took him 17 years to get to the top stage. Like it's a really, really difficult task expecting somebody with no experience, with 8 months of training, no matter how good they were in another sport and how famous they are, to come in and pick it up. So if they pull it off, it's going to be uncharted territory. They've just never had success with that ever.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And obviously we'll be talking more about that match as we get closer to Wrestle Kingdom and do our official previews and predictions and all that.
And I'll also say this, I'm not bullish or I'm not bearish on it. I think that there's a lot of upside, and I think this is a gamble that makes a lot of sense, and it's the kind of thing that we've been saying New Japan needs to do. But I also just see the potential issues that lie there, where it's like it's going to be really hard for them to pull it off, and it's going to take the right, convergence of elements for it to all to really work.
Yeah. So another piece of Wrestle Kingdom news that came out was Saya Kamitani will be wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom 20. She is the current Stardom champion and NJPW Strong Women's champion, and a top star. She's the one that's kind of leading Stardom's popularity this year. She's on a lot of news shows, getting a lot of mainstream publicity, and a lot of people are very impressed with her, and I've always been impressed with her in ring, and so yeah, she's kind of put it all together. Big star right now, and so yeah, she's laying her claim to a match at Wrestle Kingdom.
I mean, I do wonder what this could potentially be leading to. I've wondered who's the strong champion? I forget.
She is.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
The IWGP.
Right. Yeah, I got them confused. Yeah, then that's Shuri.
Yeah, she just got it back.
So I wonder if the fact that Shuri just won that title on the big show could be potentially leading to a Tokyo Dome match between the two of them to maybe unify those titles and just make it just one, women's championship. The other thing too is Saya Kamitani holds the Wonder Ring of Stardom, or the World of Stardom title. And I am wondering with the fact that it doesn't seem like New Japan has been super gung-ho to do the women's thing, and it hasn't really taken off. And almost all of this really centered primarily around Mercedes, and that's kind of gone. I've wondered if they might just absorb both of those titles into the World of Stardom title, and maybe that's what this is potentially leading to. I don't know. You also do kind of have to wonder, with it being the Dome, any chance that maybe we get Saya and Mercedes? I haven't heard anything about that, but
yeah, that could be interesting. Obviously, Mercedes is still collecting titles. Just won a 12th title last night, I believe it was.
No, she didn't. No. And look, I'm not saying this as a hater. I don't care. I think it's great, the gimmick, but she doesn't hold 12 titles. And you know why? Because kayfabe exists. And in kayfabe, some of those titles she has are not actual titles. And that matters, because when Ultimo had 10 belts, they were all real actual titles. She's got 9. The shit that's the Southside title's not real because it's part of
the Rev Pro.
Rev Pro. The Owen is not real.
The trophy.
Because it's a trophy. It just gets defended. And then the other one is the you can make an argument for the if you want to count the interim, if you really think that the interim ROH television, I don't even know why they have a women's television title. Like, they don't fucking need it. They're not even on TV. But if you want to count the interim version of the secondary women's title on the secondary brand of ROH, sure. But I don't think that's real. I think only an interim's not a real title. You have to actually win the real belt. So to me, at most she might have 10, but she really just has 9.
Yeah. And she did
one of those companies, I think it's called Ya Move. They're not even on Cage Match. The company is The company is so, because today when you guys were like, she's got 12 titles, I was like, all right, let me go look. And I went on Cage Match. She says she's got 8. And I was like, what? And then I looked and I was like, she's got one called Ya Move. It's out of Italy, which is fine. You know, I'm sure that there's not a poppin' scene in Italy, but like Ya Move's not even, you can't even find the shit on Cage Match. So that tells you, I mean, they got soft ground on Cage Match.
All right. Yeah. And she did
Tampa Bay Pro is on Cage Match.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And she did challenge Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Title full gear next month. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so they're going to give her that title.
So she might get that. And so, I mean, yeah, who knows? She could roll into the Dome and challenge for those titles as well. But at the very least, I do think they should at least unify the IWGP Women's and Strong title.
Well, I don't think Saya Kamitani should be losing to Mercedes under any circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she should win, especially just considering, who knows when Mercedes will come back. Saya's a star.
It's not even really about that. I mean, of course, Mercedes is one of the biggest stars in the world, but Saya is like essentially the ace that's driving all the business in that company right now. She shouldn't be really laying down for anybody unless there's a viable, meaningful reason that's going to better stardom as a, you know.
Yeah. So we'll see who Saya ends up wrestling. Other piece of news, New Year's Dash is confirmed for January 5th at Ota Awards. So no other, big dome show this year, no Wrestle Dynasty, no Double Dome. So we're getting our traditional 1-4 Wrestle Kingdom, 1-5 New Year Dash, except Dash will be in Ota, not Corkin.
Well, we got to work to get those tickets. I've already made some calls and, put the word out and been like, yo, you gonna help us? But but I really don't know how we do it. So hopefully we can obtain tickets, because I know it's there will be people, like, it's not like when it was in Corkin and it was impossible to get those tickets, but it's still, there's gonna be a lot of people in town from Tokyo Dome, and it's still, gonna be a tough ticket to get or to obtain, especially for foreigners. So
yeah,
but I'd like to go.
Yeah, me too, definitely. Then other piece of Wrestle Kingdom news, there's been some teases for Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Shinsuke Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom. So WWE just recently did their tour of Japan, and Nakamura was there. And during one of the post-match, he used Tanahashi's Ashima catchphrase, and he did a lot of Tanahashi mannerisms in his matchups. And Tanahashi responded to Nakamura on X, saying, I think I heard something. Dave Meltzer reported on Wrestling Observer Radio yesterday. He said it's not a done deal right now. If Nakamura versus Tanahashi is announced at Wrestle Kingdom 20, it would take place on the 21st anniversary of their first singles match against one another. 1 year before their first Wrestle Kingdom event was held, Nakamura defeated Tanahashi in the Dome January 4th, 2005 at the NJPW Tokon Festival. So what are your thoughts on seeing the teases of Nakamura as the opponent?
Honestly, I've been so busy that I started seeing the teases, but I didn't understand the context. Obviously, I also didn't see the WWE show, so I didn't really know what happened there. I saw people freaking out, so I'm like, okay, obviously something has gone down. And then I've been busy with work and then busy working on the Tanahashi project. So where I finally was like, okay, so this is what's going on. And I'm not super surprised, but I'm still a little bit wary of the whole thing. Cause it's you still do have to deal with the politics involved, not just with the WWE, AEW aspect of it all, but just WWE in general.
Yeah,
I never had the feeling that if a deal could be worked out, that, for instance, Tony would, as a partner, would stand in the way and get upset or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive. I just know how difficult it is for any group to work with WWE on any level, especially given the high profile nature of this and given the status that they hold with AEW as a competitor. That's what kind of makes it very difficult. Another thing I will say, though, for what it's worth, all over social media, people are posting tons of pictures with Shinsuke Nakamura, like WWE talent. We're posting tons of photos with him in Japan. And it gave me the vibe like it's a secret send-off. Like they were all kind of paying tribute to him, but without saying this is the last time. But they were kind of like, kind of gave off the vibe like this might be the last time. And I don't know if it's just because all these guys are winding down their careers and maybe it's the last time he'll be in Japan with WWE and it's special for that, or if they know something we don't know. Because I talked to Samsa a few weeks back, and Samsa, like, he didn't know anything, but he was like, what if not only he comes back like for this match, but then they say like he's back, you know, for like his final run or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that could be an interesting shot in the arm for New Japan. And yeah, I mean, we've been talking about him potentially being the opponent, some strong teases here. Like you mentioned, there will be some politics, but Nakamura apparently has it in his contract that he can do Japan shows. Also, you know, he worked that Noah show. What was that, last January? He worked that big Noah show.
But I always believed, and I could be wrong here, I believed that was part of the WWE Noah partnership that has kind of still persisted to even right now. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but that was my thinking. I don't know if those are two correlated things, or if they just both, or if it was coincidental, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was easier since Noah is a partner. Like there was no like having to dance around it, and also it'll probably be a little bit harder since New Japan is a partner with AEW. But I mean, we did see, you know, Carl Anderson that one time as a WWE contracted guy having the never title match against Tam at the Dome while they were still working with AEW. So it can happen.
My understanding was that was a nightmare deal to make that happen.
Yeah.
And that's where like I'm a little bit like, I don't know. But you know, another example of something like this was when Hideo Itami Kenta was allowed to go work Marufuji's anniversary show in Noah. This is before the partnership. This is like when he was still part of NXT and working the main roster, and that was pretty surprising at the time. But then again, that was Triple H's NXT where he was
he was trying to pop the marks.
He was trying to pop the marks, and they were also looking for an inroad, to do what they did, and it didn't work out. So
yeah. We did have a question here from Taguchi Man. Says, with the rumors and speculation ramping up about Nakamura potentially being Tanahashi's final opponent, who would be a suitable replacement if those plans don't actually come to fruition? Do you see Yoshitatsu come out to the ring in Gifu?
Oh, man. No. And you know what? Let me just say this right now. I know that was asked in jest. Recently, we've had a lot of Yoshitatsu discussion for one reason or another in our Discords.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you this. Tanahashi will not be working Naofumi Yamamoto. And the reason I know this is because his feelings about how he is as a pro wrestler mirror our views as the majority of Western fans about him as a wrestler. Like if you go and listen to the Tanahashi series, he talks extensively about his relationship with Yoshitatsu, and he's like, man, this is a guy that just had supreme confidence and was just the shits in the ring. Like it was, he doesn't say it in that exact, words, but he's like, this is a guy who had supreme confidence and had no business being as confident as he was, because he was the worst student that I had. He thought that him and Nakamura were generational rivals. So he had a one-sided feud where he saw Nakamura as his, the dude he had to overcome. But it's like he wasn't even on Nakamura's radar because he was an opening guy. Nakamura was already headlining day one. And he's like, and they were nowhere near each other in skill level. So Tanahashi was like, this is a guy who literally couldn't go in the ring. So there's no way he's going to close out his career against someone like that.
Against the Bullet Club Hunter.
Yeah, the Bullet Club Hunter. But with putting the jesting aside, I still think that some of the names that have been speculated, like I personally think that if it wasn't, they could have definitely gotten away with other things than just doing a singles match for his retirement match. I think that there are plenty of options that would have been viable, but he's going with the singles match. So since we know it is a singles match, you can only name singles individuals. And if the Nakamura thing doesn't work out, the only names that really make sense to me at this point would be Kenny Omega, Naito. In a perfect world, if it was allowed, Shibata, but it's not.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone else really. And then you have to throw it out there. I think it would be the weakest of the options, but you could say Okada.
Yeah, I mean, they've already kind of been there, done that with the final.
Right.
We've had 3 final Tanahashi Okada matches.
We've had so many final matches between, it's done.
Yeah. So, that would be fine, but also, yeah, that's definitely the weakest option. Hopefully it ends up being Nakamura, because I think that could be a really special, really cool moment to be a part of. But if it's not,
it kind of has to be.
Yeah.
That's the guy. That's his generational rival. That is his ultimate rival in all of wrestling is Nakamura. And it wouldn't be right if they didn't have something with one another before the close of his his career. That being said, I think the other names are viable. And those are the only 4 I can realistically actually point to and say they make sense. All the young guys, almost everybody in the entire New Japan roster that's worth a damn, he's worked them this year.
Yeah. So it has to be an outsider. I
think that there are there's names in WWE that you could point to if you were trying to really rack your brain, but then you're running into the same issue that you are with Nakamura. And why would it be a Prince Devitt or an AJ Styles or a Rock or John Cena or Brock or something like that when you have Nakamura there and everything like that?
And it means more with Nakamura. So why'd you go through all that shenanigans if it's not going to be Nakamura?
Him and AJ one last time.
Get ready to fly.
TNA never die.
TNA on Spike TV. All right. Well, speaking of Tanahashi, there were matches announced for the Tanahashi Final Homecoming show. So it is official. Konosuke Takeshita will defend the IWGP World Heavyweight title against Hiroki Goto. And we had a question from Rambone's Slam Pig. Do you think there's been a pivot with Takeshita's presentation? And are they going back to presenting him as more as a heel character as opposed to how they presented him towards the end of the G1? If so, do you think that's the right call heading towards Wrestle Kingdom? And I feel like that they've been very kind of inconsistent with how they are promoting Takeshita. I feel like they want him to be a babyface, but then some of his promos are heel, and also he's still part of Don Callis' family. It's very, very mixed what they're doing right now.
I think that is certainly an issue. The idea that with the dual contract or the triple contract situation, you're having to juggle a lot of different masters, and especially when it comes to the kayfabe between New Japan and AEW. And I mean, far be it, AEW doesn't usually really, truly, honestly give a shit about what's going on in the kayfabe of New Japan. They don't care about the continuity too much, and they kind of just do whatever they want when they have access to New Japan stars. But by and large, New Japan has always tried to adhere to whatever kayfabe is going on in New Japan with most of their talent. And I don't know if that's a directive or if it's just, we've always talked about the long form storytelling nature of New Japan, how they respect the kayfabe of outside groups. Mostly, I think sometimes they don't when it's CMLL.
Yeah.
but almost for everybody else they do. And I don't know if it's a situation where it's he really should be the invader right? And we all know that. But in AEW, he's a heel who's turning face, and you don't want to disrupt that. Like, you know, you turn him face too early over here, and then it interferes with what they got going on. Or if you make him a heavy heel over here, and then he's turning baby there, you know, I don't know if that's something that they're thinking about and considering, and that's a conflict, or if it's just coincidental because they're treating him like different characters in their own universes, and it really has nothing to do with one another. But history tells us that they've always pretty much tried to work with whatever's going on in the other group. And the fact that he's in this transitional phase and transitional feud over there, I think that probably does affect things. I also think that he didn't get the reception from the audience the way that they thought he was with this push. And I think that has thrown them for a loop as well.
Yeah, and I've heard that TVSI really loves him and sees him as a star and wants to push him. And if you look at a lot of his bigger matches, they are kind of designed with him being a babyface, especially the title match. Like, Zach was working over the arm. He had him all wrapped up in the Venus fly trap. Like, he had to fight and scratch and claw to get to the ropes. Like, it really, like, built sympathy for him, made him look like a babyface. And so I feel like a lot of his matches are structured to get him cheered and get the crowd behind him. And I think they do, especially that last title match. But then afterwards, you know, you did have some mixed reactions of some people booing him. And even his promo was kind of addressing that. And Rocky went on Twitter. It was like, you know, talking about, you know, people don't like him because he didn't come from the dojo and blah, blah, blah. And so it's like, even within New Japan, there is kind of mixed messaging on, all right, how they are presenting him. Are we supposed to cheer this guy? Are we supposed to get behind him? Is he the invader? Or is he like this Japanese hero that's living his dream and, like, you know, from a kid saying he was going to be a big time pro wrestler and getting all these dojos and having to send these applications off, and finally he's here and winning the title? Like, are we supposed to, the boyhood dream has come true? Are we supposed to get behind that?
Yes. The answer to that question is, which one is it? Yes. they're putting one foot on each side of the fence, and they're straddling the line here because they're unwilling to commit to one or the other. And I do think it has something to do, not, you know, I brought up the AEW thing, but, you know, I'm not trying to scapegoat them. I think that there is what creative would want to do, what he wants to do, what the TV company, you know, the broadcasting would like to do, what management wants to do. And these things might not all jive with one another. And then there's what the fans want out of all of it. And then of course, again, the US partner that's involved in all this. And then you got to think of DDT. There's so many moving parts, which is why, you know, a few months back, I think friend of the show Lyric, she said, like, you know, dual natured contracts is the way of the future. And I was like, no, it'll never work. It will never, ever. I mean, it'll work for the talent. It's great for the talent to be able to have the job security to go and do, and, you know, travel abroad and do whatever, but it's not great for the companies. Even if they get access to the talent, because you can't really commit and you can't really truly get them fully over unless you want to use them in a utility. At this point, he is a top guy, but he's being used in an almost utility. And it sounds weird to say this because he's got the IWGP, of course, but it's not being received the way it should be. And it's because, like, nobody can invest themselves. So you're kind of putting him in like a utility player role, you know, because until he's committed to one of these companies, nobody is going to 100% buy into him. It's just not going to happen.
Right, essentially kind of be like a part-timer, just, you know, coming and making a few big appearances. He doesn't feel like a part of the New Japan roster. And so I think that's kind of part of the reason why the fans are not reacting the way that maybe New Japan and TVSI thought that they would interact.
The other thing with it too, though, is, like, historically speaking, and this is just always the case, I know people are going to hear this and they're going to think I'm, like, broad brush stroking the Japanese audience, but there's just so much precedent behind it. Historically speaking, generally, the New Japan audience always cheers the domestic New Japan stars that came from the dojo way above the talents that came from outside. And the talents that came from outside, they can get over. It is possible, but they have to really work harder to get there. And it's the acceptance level is much, much more difficult. It was way harder for Taichi, Kushida, Ishii, Kota Ibushi to get to the point where they were truly accepted as like New Japan talent, you know?
Yeah, look at Kenta coming in 2019. It's like, you know, big Japanese star Kenta. Yeah, you would think, oh, the crowd would be super cool. You know, this top Noah superstar. He was in WWE. Like, no, like, remember all those YouTube comments? Like, Noah trash. Like, why is he getting pushed? Like, why is he beating all these guys? Why is he doing so well in G1? Like, people did not like Kenta coming in to New Japan.
The other thing too is this idea that he has to be. I agree with you, Jeremy. I think you'd mentioned in previous episodes that they should have just gone all in one way or the other. And if you wanted him to be the babyface, you really should have committed to it and really gone like whole hog with it. And I agree with that. But I don't think that's the only way that this could have potentially worked. You know, we've seen guys like, and I'll throw in for instance, the last true ace of this company, Okada, he didn't start out as a white meat clean babyface when he first started his run. He did start as a heel, and then through the course of time was able to make that transition and make the jump and then become like the top representative of the company. I don't think that there's any reason that couldn't potentially happen here. But guys that play in the middle for whatever reason, you know, a lot of wrestling, I know Japanese wrestling is more sports centric, but at the end of the day, it is a morality tale. It is character-based storytelling, and there has to be a good guy and a bad guy. And when there's shades of gray, it is hard for, unless there's like a built-in already like emotional attachment already, there, it's really hard to, to tell those stories the right way that you want them to.
Yeah.
One other thing too, I wanted to get since we're on the topic, and I think that this is worth mentioning. So there was like a poll recently, I guess, that came out, and it's like, I guess it's a Japanese smart poll. And, you know, they were listing the favorite matches of KOPW, and they were listing pretty much all the other, you know, well-received matches above the world title match. And then, you know, Dave gave that match 5.5. And like, there was there's all these different contingent fan bases that were like losing their mind over both of those two things, like saying he's way overrating it. And then the other one was like, oh, these people are, you know, I wanted to get your thoughts on it because honestly, you and I think we both agreed that was easily on paper, or at least what we saw, the best match of the night. And I don't even think that it was a close consideration, but it is funny. I think there's this idea that, yes, wrestling is subjective, but the idea that there isn't an anti-AEW or anti-DDT sentiment behind a lot of those statements, that doesn't exist. I'm not saying exclusively that's the only cause, but I have to imagine that plays a role after a match that we saw that was so fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, they voted like Sarai versus Shuri as like, I think like number one. And it's like that match. I mean, I'm higher on that match than you are, but you compare the crowd reaction of Sarai Shuri to the world title match, like ain't no way that match is over the world title match.
I was hearing that the world title match got no reactions, and I was like, what were they listening to? That's not what I heard at all.
Yeah, my feed was loud.
my feed was super loud, except for, you know, obviously the post match, like, yes, they booed Takeshita, and yes, he wasn't received well, but the match itself was really an incredible atmosphere. So it is funny, like we're in this kind of polarizing situation right now, and I don't know. Of course, it's not as important as last year because we do have Tanahashi to fall back on. We got Aaron Wolf to fall back on. But I don't know if you want to be in this situation right now, 2 months or 3 months out, where it's like, yeah, the man's not hot. And and we don't really truly, I mean, I think we know, but we don't really know who's challenging him for the dome or even how it's going to be received.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a mix of DT hate, AW hate, Zack Sabre hate. I mean, people, they're still to this day people who don't like Zack or are a fan of him or think he should be a main eventer or like his style. And so I can see some of that probably playing into it too. But, yeah, I don't really do the above 5 in my own ratings, but I do think, I kind of guess if I had to pick a side, I'm more on Dave's side. Like, I do think that was the best match of the night. 5 stars, like, incredible. And there was some other good stuff on there too, but I don't see the other stuff matching Zack Takeshita.
For just me personally, and this is just where I stand right now, I thought it was the second best New Japan match I've seen this year behind Kenny and Gabe. And that's rating it higher than the Zack and Goto matches, as awesome as those were,
Yeah. Well, other matches announced for Tanahashi's final homecoming. Yota Tsuji will defend the IWGP Global title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. So we kind of speculated about this, and Tanahashi didn't end up losing to ELP, time limit draw, and then Tsuji got in his face after winning the title, and he did lose to Tanahashi in the G1, so we figured at some point Tsuji had to get that win back, so it seems like that's what's going to go down here in Gifu.
Yeah, and Tsuji was the only other name I would have potentially listed as viable Tanahashi replacements if Nakamura doesn't work out. But now that the match is happening here, that's kind of off the table. And it does seem like what they're doing is they had Tsuji lose in the G1 so they could set up this big match so that Tanahashi does the favors to him, sets him up in a big way for the Tokyo Dome so that he's ready to take on Takeshita. And that's what everything is pointing to. And that's great. That's very exciting. But there's this part of me that's like, what if they go the scorched earth route? And what if Tanahashi beats Tsuji? And number one, Tsuji never gets the win back. Number two, Tanahashi wins the global title. And then number three, he goes into the Tokyo Dome and challenges for the world title against Takeshita, the man who beat him in Chicago earlier this year. And then number four, he beats him for the world title and retires with all the belts.
That would be wild. At first, I thought you were saying,
how do we like that shit?
I thought you were just going into the angle of like he takes a white belt to face Nakamura. Y'all see the most, president and white belt champion. But yeah, that would be great.
Fuck a Nakamura at that point. We got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, that would be wild. Like Tanahashi's like, yeah, I'm going out big.
I'm winning the global. I'm winning the world title. And fuck it. I'm going to beat ELP and Evil on the same night. I'm unifying all these belts. And then I'm retiring with that title. So y'all going to have to figure this shit out without me after I'm gone. Like,
yeah, he's going to have Aaron Wolf beat Eel for the title. And then Tanahashi will beat Aaron Wolf after that.
Bro, that's not very far off from what Inoki did in his retirement. Legit. Do you know about that?
I don't remember, no.
On his retirement night, he had a tournament. The tournament was in the same night to determine who would get the opportunity to face Inoki in his retirement match later in the evening. And they had been setting up Ogawa for years as like the ace of what was going to be UFO, the Ultimate Fighting Organization. This was Inoki's like offshoot. And so like they sacrificed Hashimoto, their biggest fucking star for the whole 90s. They sacrificed him to Ogawa and it fucking failed. And then the whole thing was everything was pointing to Ogawa is going to beat the other guys in this tournament and then face Inoki in his final match, and what have you. But then they had Don Fry from the UFC beat Ogawa in the finals of the tournament. So they sacrificed Hashimoto so Ogawa could get to the spot to be a top ace so that Don Fry could beat him. So that Don Fry could go on into the finals and face Inoki and lose in like 8 minutes.
Oh, man. Good old Inoki.
So think about that. He had a real shooter beat an established star so that he could face them later in the night and make himself look good and retire on the high note.
Oh, man.
If that wouldn't be if Tanahashi says he doesn't like Inoki, but if he has Aaron Wolf beat this dude and then he beats Aaron Wolf the same night, put the red scarf around this man.
Tanahashi-ism. And then the other match that was announced, the Super Junior Tag League Finals will also take place at the Tanahashi Final Homecoming. which we'll get into previewing. But before we preview that, we just talked about a lot of news items that kind of show the direction of what's going on the next several months. And we have some questions here that kind of lead into the direction. So these come from Reddit user LiveValuable381. First, they say, thoughts on the latest Super J-Cast episode. You guys are mentioned and seem to me, at least, that you are a lot more positive on the product at the moment than the J-Cast boys. So, Josh, did you hear that episode a couple weeks ago?
Yeah. Yeah, bro, it was wild. So you've been out of town. So this wasn't their review for KOPW. It was a couple weeks back.
It was their review of Despy when he lost to Doki.
Yeah, and I think it was the preview for it. And bro, Damon lost his shit on that show.
I listened to it.
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah.
Okay, Bro, I was assuming you didn't hear it because you've been traveling. I didn't know you actually heard it.
I listened to it on the flight back home.
Okay, I was going to do the recap for you. So you heard it. So here's the funny thing. Not going to speak too much about what Damon had to say. If you guys want to check it out, I would recommend it. I thought he had a lot of really good things to say, but I did notice that there was one part in the rant where one thing that they were talking about, and I hate to drum up rumors or drum up underneath stuff, but he kept talking about management and how management has worked against them, Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'll tell you the truth. We've had people from New Japan involved in the show before, and we've had some level of support. We have friendly relationship. We even sometimes get notes from the office, and that's cool. But I mean, of all of the podcasts, we've never been mentioned on the air in the world, and everybody else and their mother has, so it's whatever, but I don't feel any kind of way about it. But I could imagine with those guys, how plugged in they are with stuff. They've ruffled some feathers over the years, and they've kind of had, they've butt heads with management and different shit like that, which isn't really our thing here. But he kept mentioning that and he named names. I won't name those names, but he named names of people in the office. He was like, that don't fucking like them. And I don't know the deal there. I've never talked to those people and asked them yo, what's the deal? Why don't you like Damon and Joel? But one thing that he did do, and I didn't say anything to them about it because I don't really care, but he started naming how other groups are also fed up with their shit. And he listed a bunch of other podcasters and article writers and stuff, and he listed us. And I don't think he's completely wrong, but it almost gave the impression that we have reached out to them and echoed the exact same sentiments. And I don't know if that's what he intended, but that's what it sounded like. And I can say for sure that that's, even though we are friendly with Joel and Damon and we talk, I don't think we've ever had that sort of oh, fuck this shit, we're fucking done. Can you believe this? That's never happened.
Yeah.
But I also think that I don't think that was Damon's intention. He was in the middle of an impassioned rant. Mm-hmm. And I think he also just wanted to include us because he's being thoughtful and just being here are the groups out there, they're worth mentioning, and we're all fucking fed up with it. But I've definitely, you've heard us on the show. We've had our gripes, and it's no secret. But there's also never been the powwow, what the fuck is this company doing? Are you guys almost done? We're almost done. Are you done? We're done. That's never happened.
Yeah, we have not. As much as crazy stuff has happened, we have never mentioned oh man, are you done? Are you tired? How are you feeling? I'm I don't know. They also, there have been a ton of questionable booking decisions the last several years. All throughout COVID. And then especially, the last 2-3 years, there's really been a lot of questionable booking decisions. But I'm not at the point where I'm throwing my hands up. I am frustrated all around, some of the directions, some of the booking calls, but I'm not at the point where I'm man, I'm not at the, 2017 WWE where I'm they just bust Roman open. What are they, I'm done with this company. I'm not at that point yet. So
There was a time where like we weren't really on the radar of those guys necessarily. So it's like when they were listing people, it'd be like John Pollock, Post, Dave, Voice of Wrestling, yada, yada. And like, we weren't really getting the mention. And then eventually, like over time, it's like we worked our way, we stuck around. So it's like anytime they're going to talk about who's out there, they're going to mention the stiff guys. They're going to mention us. They mention Okada Shorts or the former Okada Shorts podcast. So like they're talking about the people that are involved in the community, that are creating content and that are watching this stuff and have a voice, and that's cool. But yeah, I mean, but I also appreciate what they bring to the table. I know that it's a different show than ours, and I thought a lot of the things that he said were valid and worthwhile. I felt bad because he was having he was really having a meltdown that episode. And like the next week he was like, I don't take it back, but Scale BW was kind of good.
Yeah.
See, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, so I listened to it and I agree with like a lot of the points that he was making, and I do appreciate him mentioning us. One weird like little thing, which is not that big of a deal, but again, it's kind of part of the rant that he the moment he was probably in. But he mentioned like how we like reached out to ask permission to do a New Japan podcast.
I think he's misremembering. Yeah, he did say that. I forgot about that. So this is what really happened. We had already started the show. We never reached out to Damon or because they were Purocast when we started. Purocast already existed.
Dude, when we started, I had no idea about Voices of Wrestling. I didn't know about Purocast. I didn't know about Joe Lanza. I didn't know about any of
that's right. You guys didn't even, that's right, because when we started the show, you guys didn't even know what Voices of Wrestling was. I was the only one who listened to Voices of Wrestling. I discovered them around like 2015-ish, 2016 when I was in New Jersey, and I became a fan. And I found them through the way I found their shit was I'm always big on the year-end award stuff, and I found their year-end lists, and it was way more at the time expansive because it included Mexico and Joshi and Europe and all the indies and the shit that a lot of the other the WWE list didn't have.
Sports Illustrated is not putting a list out like that.
I started listening to Joe and Rich around that time, and then that's how I found out about Jake or the Purocast. But when we started our show, we did not talk with them. I think he's just misremembering. We didn't ask permission. Here's what did happen. The Purocast ended not very long after our show had already been running. I think I want to say we started in like November. Theirs ended around March.
Yeah.
Like it was around WrestleMania time.
Yeah.
And I think we might have reached out and said something about like, hey, we appreciate what you guys were doing in the space, some kind pleasantries. And then Damon ended up like listening to some of our shows when he was trying to figure out for those few weeks what he was going to do with his show. And then him and Joel started Jcast. But I just think he forgot. I think he thinks how like that was so many, bro, that was like almost a decade ago. So
that's crazy,
I did when he said that, I was like, he's just misremembering, but I forgot he said that. And then you mentioned him like, yeah, that's not what happened.
Yeah. I was like, what? I was like, I had no idea you existed when we started.
Yeah. Because what happened when we were in, that same WrestleMania, we were in New Orleans, and some dude, he had a label called Kaiju Clutch, and he came up and was talking to me or whatever. And I was like, I like your shirt, man. And then he was like talking with me, and somehow he knew about our show already when we were in our infancy. And he was like, oh, you're from Keepin It Strong Style. He's like, Joe Lanza's here, right? And somehow he just like put two and two together that like maybe we might know each other. And I was like, no, I didn't know that. And I was like, I listened to his show, and he's like, you got to meet Joe. And he like had me come meet Joe. Then I came back and told you guys, I'm like, yeah, I met Joe Lanza, super cool. And you guys like had no fucking clue what I was talking about.
We're like, who?
Yeah. And I was like, you guys might want to listen to Voice of Wrestling. They're pretty dope. And then that's kind of how
we started
connected with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys didn't know. In fact, I'm the one who reached out to Damon you didn't reach out to Damon because you didn't even know about their show.
Right. I didn't even know he existed. Yeah.
But, I thought that they did a lot of really good work for a long time in the space. And that's when I heard their show was shutting down. I was like, oh, yeah, it's a bummer. Thanks for everything you guys did. But yeah, we didn't ask anybody for permission. But I just think he misforgot or misremembered. It's so long ago.
Yeah. Liv Valley also asks, says, I've seen many AEW fans saying it should be Takeshita versus Okada at the Dome. I think if this does happen, New Japan will never escape being the little brother of AEW, and it undermines the company in the next generation immensely. Thoughts?
I mean, I thought at one point that there was a way to potentially do that, and it makes sense, but I sort of think the ship has sailed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's definitely it's an AEW program. They're building it on AEW TV. They just had the tag title match Saturday. Takeshita and Okada lost to Brodito. Okada's fault. He hit Takeshita with the Rainmaker on accident. Was happy about it, and then Okada ended up getting pinned by Bandito. So it's very clear that they're building the tension on AEW TV. I feel like it's going to happen on AEW pay-per-view. At this point, I don't think it should happen at the Dome. I mean, on paper, that looks great. Like, yeah, to catch Okada in Tokyo Dome. But again, like, what's the follow-up? Like, you have, like, Okada's not even a New Japan part-timer at this point. Like, you have, like, a one-off appearance from Okada and then this part-timer Takeshita main eventing the Dome. It doesn't really sit well.
If they had positioned Takeshita in a different way in the G1 to set up a potential feud down the line, and all the creative between these two companies were on the same page, and they wanted to run a program across brands that worked cohesively, not necessarily dependently, but at least cohesively, so that they weren't stepping on each other's toes, it could have potentially worked. But that's not what the intention is. And at this point, the ship has sailed. Like, we're in November. Takeshi's not a made guy. And where they're at in their story over there, it wouldn't make sense for them to advertise a future match for them, even in the coming weeks in November. It just wouldn't work. And you need to advertise whatever's coming up for the Dome, at least by after the Tanahashi show. It needs to be announced, whatever it is. Everything does, because that's the traditional power struggle, like, cutoff. And it's not going to happen. We could definitely, like, talk about how they could have done it and everything. And I think we had ideas, and I'm the one who kind of threw that out there several, months ago, but it's done now. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Especially with all the teasing about the double gold dash, which, say what you will about that. Not everybody's thrilled, but they're not saying all that shit on commentary and backstage for nothing. Like, so it's pretty clear that's the direction we're going.
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of weird for Tony Khan to just build up a match on his TV that he's not going to get the payoff from.
Well, I always thought it could have worked out in a way to where, if you wanted to make good between the partners, there was a way to do the program across both brands and have it make sense and have, synergy, and still do the match in both companies. And maybe Tony does get the first and the third match, but the rematch could have been built for Tokyo Dome. There is a way that it could have been done, but they didn't do it. So there's no point in talking about it any longer, because it didn't take place.
Yeah. Let's move into Super Junior Tag League. So the tournament's going to be starting.
Oh boy. Can't wait. Bro, before you break it down, I just want to say this. I looked at the tour, and it's like, what day does this start off on? The 23rd?
Yes. Thursday. This Thursday.
Okay, so it's like Thursday until November 2nd. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 nights. There are only 2 off nights on this tour. They're going back to back almost exclusively, which is like, it kind of fucking sucks, because number one, I don't love Super Junior Tag League. It's fun. It's cool, whatever. But it's like, we just got all this downtime, which has been nice. But now we're going to go 8 shows back to back to back before the Gifu show. It's like, bro, I understand that. I know it's not a Western company and they make their money off of touring, but like sometimes I wish they would find a way to cater to us to where it's like I could just tune in on a Monday or a Wednesday night and just fucking watch this shit, and then I wouldn't have to like rearrange my whole life for Clark Connors and Daiki Nagai, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, especially we'll get to the teams, but yeah, there's no Catch 2-2, there's no Jet Setters, there's no Drilla and Clark. Like, this is looking a little, different.
Wait, who are the Jet Setters?
That was Kevin Knight and Kushida.
Is lagging, so my bad. I heard your joke, it didn't land with me. But who are the Jet Setters?
Kevin Knight and Kushida.
Oh, okay. And then who is Kevin Knight? Kevin Knight's with
he's with Speedball right now.
What's his team in AEW called?
They're Jet Speed.
Okay, see, Jet Setters, Jet Speed. They're both with S. I was getting confused.
I mean, that would have been great to have Jet Speed as a team in this thing. But so the tournament starts this Thursday, October 23rd, goes to November 2nd. Like we said, the finals will be at the Tanahashi Final Homecoming. So the winner of the A block will face the winner of the B block. So in the A block, we have the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Doki and Sho, Risuke Taguchi and Dragon Dia with their second consecutive entry. Then we have the debut entry of Yo and Master Wato, the debut entry of Templario and Jacob Austin Young from the United Empire, the debut entry of Clark Connors and Daiki Nagai, and the debut entry of Hiromu, Takahashi, and Gato.
Yeah, so there are some positives, there's some negatives, there's some head scratchers here that I'm just a little confused about. Obviously, we saw the angle in the semi-main event of KOPW where it was like Bullet Club War Dogs and the unaffiliated former LIJ are on friendly terms. I didn't know that was necessarily going to mean that they were going to mash them up and have them team together for this tournament. So that's fucking weird. And I'm just assuming out the gate that the intention here is to build tension between these groups for whatever the storyline is that they're forwarding. Doesn't it seem kind of weird that they're doing this right before the Tokyo Dome, though?
Yeah, it seems really strange. I don't know what they're doing with this whole story or with this whole team, and I was very annoyed that they brought Teton in just for those few, King of Pro Wrestling show. Like, oh, well, they brought Teton into the country, so clearly he's going to stick around, do this tag league with Hiromu.
And that would have been an awesome team.
Yeah, and people even have kind of wanted to see Hiromu and Daiki Nagai team together. Right. But yeah, nope, none of that. You get Hiromu and Gato.
It's good to have Dragon Dia back. They've got him with Taguchi, so that is what it is. I mean, he's a cool talent, but that's not going to lead to anything here. It is funny that the United Empire group is Templario and JAY. There's no TJP here, so that tells you something. I think it's very, very clear here, Jeremy, unless they're having Doki and Sho go through to the finals as the champions, and then maybe perhaps, I don't know, have a rematch where they lose the finals and then defend against the champions, or even put the titles on the line in the finals. Unless they're going that way, the A block winners are going to be Yo and Master Wato 100,000%, and there's no ambiguity. I can't imagine anybody else other than those two teams coming out of this block.
Yeah. Besides the champions, that's the strongest. Obviously, Yo, tons of history in this tournament as junior tag team champion, and Wato's somebody that they try to push. And so I think that's
he's held junior tag team titles before, like with 6 or 9, right?
Yes, right. Yeah, he's a former champion as well. So it makes a ton of sense. They're both in Hantai now. So yeah, I think they're going to go through if Doki and Sho don't. And then looking over at the B block, so we have the Ichiban Sweet Boys, our good friend Robbie Eagles and Kosei Vegeta, who won the tournament in 2024. This is their third time in the tournament. Then we got Taiji Ishimori and Robbie X with their second consecutive entry. And then a bunch of debut entries here. El Desperado and Kukai, Tiger Mask and Yamato, Kushida and Yuki Yoshioka, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Dick Togo.
And that's another weird thing here is like we've got some Bullet Club, War Dog teams, or we've got like Ishimori and Robbie X, and they're an established tag team, but like, I don't know, why aren't they mishmashed as well? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't we have like Titan teaming with Taiji Ishimori, like, or whatever? Like, it just kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. I also think it's interesting that Desperado and Kukai were kept away from the champions, and so were the Ichiban Sweet Boys. And those were the last two challengers, and they were building these really heated post-match segments with both of them that led me to believe that they were going to wind up very likely in the same block as the champions, and they're not. So maybe that does lend some sort of legitimacy to the idea that the champions just win a block and then face one of those established teams, that they've already faced before. I don't know.
Yeah, and something else weird about this block is that, they have the Dragon Gate, Twin Gate champions.
Open the Twin Gate.
Yeah, in this tournament. So Kushida's partner, Yuki Yoshioka, is teamed up. His partner I think he's teamed up with Dragon Dia.
Okay.
So they're
I didn't know if it was Yamato or not.
Yamato's in the same block. Yeah, so it's Dragon Dia. So they're Twin Gate champions, and it's like, why weren't they just teamed up together?
Right. That would be cool. I don't watch Dragon Gate, but I mean, if you were like, yeah, the Open the Twin Gate champions are coming over, it'd be like, oh, that's fucking sick. But they're in different groups, and they're with, guys that they're probably not, don't have any chance of like even fucking winning the thing. So it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yamato, I think Yamato and Tiger Mask being together, because this is Tiger Mask's last Super Junior Tag League, essentially. Because I think by next year when he does retire, it'll be before Tag League, unless something dramatic happens to the, to the schedule.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they have any sort of like history together.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I've always thought that Yamato was essentially like a Dragon Gate lifer and like was trained in like the T2P Toryumon system, sort of like, and obviously like Tiger Mask came from like Michinoku Pro.
Yeah. And last time Yamato was in New Japan, before the Shingo anniversary event, he wrestled in the 2009 Best Super Junior and the Super J Cup tournaments.
Yeah, I'm looking right here and seeing if there's any sort of like history between them. And it's like they've wrestled against each other in tag matches in New Japan back in like 2009, but they've never teamed together at all.
Yeah, he did go up against Black Tiger in tag matches and stuff during those 2009 tours. But yeah, nothing with Tiger Mask.
No, he did wrestle Tiger Mask in 2009. Okay. He teamed with Black Tiger in Chaos.
Gotcha.
With like against Tiger Mask in that brief series, like that brief tour. But like they don't have a history together, so I think it is weird that like Tiger Mask's final, not that like Super Junior Tag League is like super meaningful, and I mean his longtime partner all those years was Liger. But it's like they couldn't bring in. Here's someone they could have brought in, and I mean I'm stealing their thunder a little bit, but like the guys over at Voice of Wrestling are always talking about what's his face is
Dynamite Kid.
Dynamite. Yeah, Dynamite Kid. Is it his nephew?
Yeah.
Is his nephew? It's not like his son or grandson or whatever.
It's definitely like nephew or something like that.
And what's his name?
Tommy Billington.
Yeah, they could have brought in Tommy Billington and had him like team with Tiger Mask or some shit like that. That would have been fucking sick, and he's the right size. They're not doing anything with him over there. It's like they got him with Yamato, and Yamato's a great talent and like one of the like all-time best Dragon Gate guys, but I don't know. It's weird. They maybe that's the appeal, is that like it's these two titans of a certain era that never have interacted. I don't know. It's weird though.
Yeah. Yeah, and so out of this block, I mean, to me, Ichiban Sweet Boys is like the favorite, I would think, to get through this thing.
Well, I will tell you this. There's no way Kanemaru and Dick Togo are getting through at all. That's almost like a team where I'm like, why the fuck are they even in it? That's where they were desperate to like fill out the slots. And Kushida and Yoshioka and Tiger Mask and Yamato, I think that those are all completely like no hope, not happening. I could see the top three teams getting through, which is like Despy, Kukai, Ishimori, Robbie X, or Ichiban Sweet Boys. And it really just depends on whether we're looking at the champions going through. I think if the champions go through, then the idea that it could be Desperado, Kukai, or Ichiban Sweet Boys goes up. But if it ends up being what I think it's probably going to be, which is Yo and Wato, I think it might be Taiji Ishimori and Robbie X.
Just to throw some heels in there.
Well, they like to push Taiji Ishimori, like, you know what I mean? They're War Dog guys. Mm-hmm. Robbie X can go, give him a push. I mean, they could go with Sweet Boys again, and that's also, I think that's the other match that's likely, like Robbie and Kosei Fujita versus Wato and Yo. That would be really good in a finals position. But it's gonna be. I only see Desperado and Kukai getting through if they're looking to set up the junior title match in the Dome and they want to get heat on Doki and Sho for the rematch.
Yeah,
which is possible.
Yeah, and then if you want to do some kind of like multi-man match, what they do sometimes, like having Sweet Boys win the tournament, and then you have Yo and Wato pin Doki and Sho in the block. You can get like a three-way with those teams right there.
If that's what they're looking to do, something like that. But I'm not really, I don't know. When I look at this collection, it's like they've got so much great talent, but they're all teamed with the wrong guys in situations where it doesn't make you really want to see those particular teams really go. I mean, how many teams are you really excited? I mean, I can tell you right now, Doki and Sho, I'm not excited about that at all. You got Taguchi and Dragon Dia. They might have a fun match or two. Dragon Dia is great, but he's saddled with Taguchi. Yo and Wato are going to be very hit and miss. They might have the motivation just because they know they're getting the rocket strap sort of thing. Templario and Jacob Austin Young, it's like Templario's great. Jacob Austin Young's going to be really hungry, but they're not going to get the numbers. Mm-hmm. Clark Connors, Daiki Nagai, and Hiromu Gato. That's like Clark Connors and Daiki Nagai could be a really cool team, but it's going to be this unaffiliated War Dogs. Will they, won't they, can they coexist bullshit?
Right. And they're probably not going to pick up many wins with Daiki Nagai being on the team.
Right. He's a pin eater and Gato's a pin eater. And then you look at the other teams and it's like all those guys. Tiger Mask is a pin eater. Kushida could easily, him or Yoshioka could be pin eaters, but it's probably going to be Kushida. Kanemaru and Dick Togo are no hopers. Despy's got Kukai to eat the falls for him. The only two tag teams, and then even Robbie X probably going to eat falls for Taiji Ishimori. Like, it's not looking, I mean, if anything, B block is probably the more promising of the two blocks, but it's not looking great. And it could, considering how many good names are in it, but I don't know. This is one where less would have been more.
Yeah. Like, I know we always complain about single block tournaments, but yeah, a single block with some more intentional teams might have been better here.
I don't know. I've always been a fan of junior tag league just not being a league, and just I liked it when it was the junior tag tournament.
Yeah.
Single elimination, get that shit over with. Let's go. Move on.
So definitely got some 20 thoughts on the junior tag league competitors. I mean, we just kind of went through that. Any other thoughts on these teams?
I don't have anything else really to add. I think I've given as comprehensive a review as I'd like to based on what we were seeing here.
Yeah. He also says, do you think they do a title change for the junior tag titles before Wrestle Kingdom? I can't see Doki defending both titles at the Dome.
It's also possible that they just don't have a junior title defense or junior tag team title defense on the Dome. That's possible. But yeah, if I was betting, I think it's tough, right? Because the tournament finals are at the Gifu show, and there's not another really major show. Oh, you know what they'll probably do? They'll probably have the junior titles defended at
World Tag League Finals.
No, probably like Road to Tokyo Dome in Corkin.
Christmas Corkin, so yeah.
And if that's the case, and you're trying to also do a preview potentially for the match that we all think they're doing, which is supposed to be Despy and Doki, which with this company, who the fuck knows what they're really actually going to wind up doing. But that might be a reason that you might want to count on Despy and Kukai winning the tournament.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Add some heat to that. But yeah, like I said, we don't know what they're going to do, and if Doki will end up facing somebody completely different, and Despy does whatever. Rainbow and Slam Pick says, Hiromu teaming with Gato in Super Junior Tag League feels like when the unruly kid has to sit next to the teacher on the school bus. What did Hiromu do to deserve this?
I don't know. He kept pulling on his beard the whole last tour, so I don't know.
He says, were you surprised at the amount of Dragon Gate talent being brought in for the tournament? What about all the foreigners being flown in?
I'm surprised that I don't know what he did, but there's no Ninja Mac, and it's like he's going back and working Noah again, so maybe he's just done with New Japan, and if he is, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, he got pulled from the China show, and then, yeah, I don't know.
What he do?
Who knows? Yeah, that's very, I know Liger was a really big fan of his and was the one that pushed him getting into New Japan, but yeah, not sure what happened there.
Yeah, but I mean, do they really? It's not like they brought in a bunch of foreign talent. Like they brought in Robbie, they brought in Templario. That's about it. Unless you count like the other foreigners who always come in, that are signed guys like Clark Connors and Robbie Eagles and shit like that. But like I don't, because they're pretty much part of it. I guess you could also count Kukai.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like they didn't bring in a bunch of outsiders too much, except for, the Dragon Gate guys are domestic. And I think that's really cool. They've done that a little bit in the past. I think it's interesting. I don't know if it's going to lead to anything.
Yeah. And I mean, this would have been, obviously that whole, United Wrestling, whatever union or whatever was supposed to be, obviously that blew up. But like, this could have been a cool thing to where, you bring in established teams from the other promotions to be in this thing, because clearly New Japan doesn't have a ton of junior tag teams right now, and they brought in the Twin Gate champion and split them up. It's like they could have had them as a team. They could have probably found some other of their partner teams to bring this thing and make it really interesting, but no.
Yeah, so we've got 4 nights coming up before next week. When we jump. Oh, and by the way, I guess I should tell you right now, Jeremy, I'm not going to be on the show next week.
Okay.
I got an anniversary coming up, so
nice.
It's falling on the day of the show, unless if you want, we could always move the day of the show. I know that's not always, viable for you, but we'll talk about it off the air. But yeah, if you want to record next Monday, I'm not going to be here.
Okay.
So, we got Tag League coming up Thursday, October 23rd from Korakuen Hall. It's mostly all junior tag league block matches. There is an opener with Hiroshi, Tanahashi, and Murashima teaming up to take on Shingo and Tsuji. That actually sounds kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But you got all the block every single block is going to be in action on this evening. So you've got United Empire versus House of Torture Tag Team Champions. You got House of Torture B team taking on the War Dogs team. You got Gato and Hiromu taking on Clark Connors and Daiki Nagai. So right off the rip, we're getting the mishmash teams going head to head. You got Tiger Mask and Yamato taking on Kushida and Yoshioka. Semi-main event is Wato and Yo versus the Skateboard Bros. So I guess Dragon Dai and Taguchi have like an official tag name. They're the Skateboard Bros.
Yeah, that was their team name last year.
I don't remember. Yeah. And then the main event, Desperado and Kukai take on the Sweet Boys. That one, the one thing that was good about this tournament last year, there were some really top-notch tag team matches that came out of it, and that might be one of them right there.
Yeah, especially in Corkin. Yeah, that could be fire.
Night 2, the 24th, is also in Corkin, kind of the same exact format, and there's still a Tanahashi opener against the same opponents, but this time he's teaming with Shomakato. You got the Ichiban Sweet Boys versus House of Torture Tag Team B team. You got Wato and Yo versus Connors and Daiki Nagai. You got Tiger Mask and Yamato versus Despy and Kukai. Gato and Hiromu versus the United Empire. Semi-main event is Kushida and Yoshioka versus the Bullet Club War Dog Tag Team Champions. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Robbie X and Taiji. And then the main event is the Bullet Club this House of Torture Bullet Club shit has got me so confused. They need to, when they split, they needed to change, one of them needed to change their colors. Like, not only can you not be Bullet Club, but you can't wear black anymore. Like, that would have helped. But yeah, the House of Torture Tag Team Champions will take on the Skateboard Bros in the main event. October 25th. So literally we're going 23rd, 24th, 25th, back to back to back. That sucks. Kumagaya Citizen Gymnasium, Murashima and Yano taking on Matsu. Okay, this is where we're actually going to start breaking up the block matches. So there is an undercard. I'm going to skip the undercard. We've got just strictly A block matches in the top end. You got Connors and Daiki Nagai versus Skateboard Bros, Wato and Yo versus the United Empire, and then Gato and Hiromu taking on the House of Tortures Tag Team Champions. And then finally on the 26th. So, oh shit, we're going 4 nights back to back. Oh my God. Unoma City, Hironochi Gymnasium. Same thing. We've got an undercard. We're going to skip over it. And the top 3 matches are all B blocks. So you got Despy Kukai. You got the House of Torture B team. Semi-main event, Tiger Mask and Yamato versus the Bullet Club War Dogs team. And then the main event will be Kushida and Yoshioka versus the Ichiban Sweet Boys. That is going to be what is coming up next week. 4 nights of junior tag team action at the highest levels.
Can't wait.
Cannot wait. In addition, brief review here. So there was some people are probably listening being like, yo, where's the road to Ishikari? That's what why you guys didn't open up with the review? I pretty much took. Jeremy, did you watch this? No.
Well, you called me yesterday and we're talking about, you're like, bro, you don't watch this. You don't have to watch the show. Don't watch it. So.
No, I know I did. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I didn't know if you like heeded my advice or if you just like were like, fuck that. I want to see what's going on.
I want to see this JTO girls tag team title match.
I want to see my dog Jewel Bird. I want to see what he's all about.
No, so I chose to skip this and watch the Wrestle Dream.
Okay, makes sense. So I've got brief notes on pretty much the whole show. Jeremy, if you could do me a favor, read me the results of each match. I'll give you guys some thoughts, and we'll knock through this pretty quick.
Yep, the show opened up. We had Masatori Asuda defeating Jewel Bird.
Yeah. So, the one thing I will say that was interesting about this show, it was pretty much your standard road to the big deal. Obviously, Taichi's hometown. They never go to this place. Like it's a really, really, really small location. And they've been sold out for a while. They drew like 871, which is cool. But the interesting thing about the show wasn't the New Japan matches. It was the Just Tap Out talent that came over. So I almost have more things to say about them because all the other like New Japan matches, they were exactly what you expect them to be, especially on a road to house show that they think nobody's going to watch where they're not putting on their working boots.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jewel Bird comes out. It's from JTO. Mass Lucha Rezu, Green Boy. He just debuted on July 11th of this year. He's only 18 years old. He's trained by Taka. This is his 6th match ever. And it's only his 3rd singles match. So, this is a really, really, really green guy. This was Yasuda's first singles match with a non-New Japan guy. So, he only started picking up wins in like June. And this is the 7th singles win of his career. So, a little bit of a learning experience for both guys. Jewelbird completely ripping off basically like mid 2000s era Rey Mysterio. His gear, his look, everything just looks like pink Rey Mysterio with the baggy pants and almost the same mask. But it was a basic Lions match, except it wasn't as fluid because Yasuda's on top almost the whole time. Essentially, Jewelbird did get a couple cool hope spots down the stretch to kind of show what he could do, which is like a flipping drop kick, a running swanton on the ground, and then he missed a big swanton bomb off the top. Yasuda hit him with the deadlift superplex, which was cool, and then put him in the Boston Crab to win. So super, super short match. At the end of it all, you thought that maybe they're going to do the respect, and Jewelbird slapped Yasuda and then he got stomped out for it and just got tossed out of the ring. So the one interesting thing that did come out of this, I didn't listen to the post-match comments, but apparently Yasuda did mention the idea of a Young Lions Cup maybe perhaps happening. That's something that we've been talking about in the Discord. So
nice. So after that, there was Katsuya Murashima and Satoshi Kojima defeating Shomakato and Yuji Nagata.
Not much to say here. It's exactly sort of what you would expect out of these guys. It's interesting. You have the most decorated 2 stars of the 3rd generation legends teaming up with the 2 top senior senpai Young Lions in a tag match. But, it's always fun to see the dads. I noticed that Kato is starting to get almost as beefy as Murashima, and he's improving a lot. Murashima had some incredible chops in this match. I mean, he's really laying them in, which was great. And, the Lions carried most of the action. Dads got their big shit in. If you know what Nagata and Kojima do, that's what they did. And then Kojima got the pin over Kato after a cozy lariat.
Nice. Then following that, we had the JTO Girls Tag Team Title match. The team of Rhythm and Tomioka Inaba defeated Ao and Azusa Inaba.
Yeah, so this one was really actually a pretty good match. I would, if there was anything on the show that you're like, what should I watch? This was probably one that was worth watching. Tomoko Inaba and Azusa Inaba are sisters. So, that's why they both have the same last name. Most of the girls in this match, Aoi and Tomoka and Rhythm, they're all 23 years old and they're all 6-year veterans and they're all trained by Taka and started in JTO. But Azusa Inaba is only 17 years old and she's the current queen of JTO and the JTO girls champion. I don't know why they have so many championships in JTO because I don't even know how many women are actually competing in the company, but they've got a lot of women's belts. But yeah, this was for the tag team titles. It's only been around since October. And this tag team, Rhythm and Tomoka Inaba, they're the 6 champions. They're in the middle of their first reign. They won this match. So after 3 defenses, they're the most successful champions that the company has ever had up to this point. But the interesting thing is Tomoko Inaba and Aoi, who are on different sides here, they were the inaugural champions. So I kind of wonder if there was a split there or what happened because, but Aoi and Azusa Inaba, who were the challengers, they were champions already. They were the 4th champions for 48 days. They had 0 title defenses. And then the older sister, Tomoka, she's a 4-time queen of JTO champion. So she's highly decorated in the company. And then her younger sister, who's only 17, she's the current queen. So there's kind of these dynamics that were there. But I noticed that both Inaba sisters, they had different gear, red and white, but both of them have karate backgrounds. They both work in Stardom apparently, and they're working in other Joshis. And they were both very, very impressive. Rhythm was kind of more like a tiger mask style chick with the rainbow tiger mask with hair extensions and the raccoon tail and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then Aoi worked sort of like an alt girl. She had a raccoon haircut with the white face and dark eyes and shit like that. But I thought all 4 girls had really, really, really great work. Very fluid, great fundamentals. I watch a lot of Joshi matches and I see like, I'm not trying to be harsh, but I see a lot of like emotion and hard hittingness, but I don't see good fundamentals the same way that you expect in the States. These girls were all like, boom, boom, boom. Like they got it on a different kind of levels, and they got good crowd reactions. So that's great. The match ended when Tomoka pinned Azusa after 2 Michinoku drivers and a penalty kick for them to retain the title. So the older sister beat the younger sister. And the person I was most impressed with in the match was Azusa Anaba, the 17-year-old. Mm-hmm. She's fucking awesome. I think she's like very marketable. She's probably gonna be a big star.
Cool. Maybe I'll go back and watch that one. So after that, we had Daiki Nagai, Hiromu Takahashi, and Yota Tsuji defeating Bomber Tatsuya, Ryoma Tsukamoto, and Thunder Masami.
Yeah, so this was almost like a Bizarro version of the flip side of those guys. So you got like Bomber, who's 19 years old. He's only been in wrestling for 1 year. He's a Taka JTO trainee, and he's a 2-time UWA World Lightweight Champion. So they've got like that title over there. But he essentially he's the junior of the tag team, and he's wearing like the orange shorts similar to like Hiromu. So he's probably like one of the top juniors in that, in this indie. Thunder is like the ace of the company, but he's like a young and up and coming ace. He like wore the robe. He's the JTO he's the king of JTO champion, but he's only 20 years old. He's only been wrestling 1 year. And I thought he had a good look, even if he's like really skinny. And then Tsukamoto is the most interesting one because he's 28. He's been wrestling for 4 years, but he took time off between 2021 and 2023 during the pandemic. He got injured. He's actually an Animal Hamaguchi trainee and started in the All Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo and then quit wrestling and apparently was following Taichi's like streams online when he was like doing Twitch and shit, and got connected with them and they got him back into wrestling and like got him over to JTO.
Nice.
But he is like a bruiser. He's got no eyebrows. He's completely bald and he's just like a jacked little fucking powerhouse dude. And all business. And, so you've got like Daiki on the one side, who's like, everyone thinks he's going to be something future. You got the Thunder guy on the other side, who's like the up and coming ace. You got the 2 juniors. And then, you've got Tsuji, who's like the powerhouse of his group and the opposite of Tsukamoto. So I thought this was pretty good, actually. They did a lot of brawling through the crowd. The one thing I noticed, you didn't get the fluid house style LIJ tag match because these aren't guys they regularly train with or wrestle. So they can't really do that. So instead you kind of got LIJ just being super nasty and beating the shit out of these other guys. But there was a point where Tsukamoto got thrown into the chairs by Tsuji and he got busted open hard way. So we got a little color there, but the final close of the match was like the fluid LIJ. Everybody gets their shit in, so one guy jumps in, hits his thing, blah, 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 boom, boom, boom. Everybody's going down. So they did that shit and that was pretty good. But I thought Tsukamoto was the most impressive guy because Tsuji went for the Gene Blast and he countered the Gene Blast with a huge power slam. And then he got a Saito suplex and a huge lariat and he had like Tsuji rocking for a minute there, but eventually he hit the Gene Blast on Tsukamoto, got the big win. And at the post match, all these guys kept brawling with each other. One last interesting thing was Daiki and Thunder had a lot of heat all throughout the match, and they've actually already wrestled before. Like Daiki did a tag match in JTO earlier this year, and they were opposite of one another. So maybe there's something there with like this guy who's like the top champion of a little indie company and Daiki's kind of coming up. It reminds me of who was the dude from 2AW yeah. He was Shota Umino's like rival.
Yeah.
Was it Rene Yabe?
That sounds familiar.
Man, I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, we thought he was going to get signed and we thought like he was going to be a dude, and then it didn't happen. And he was like one of Taka's trainees.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, the funniest thing though was at the very, 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 they were all brawling post match and shit. But Daiki was like basically like clowning on Thunder, who's like the world champion. And so he started doing the young lion thing, the young lion pose where they like send them to the back, where they like put their hand behind.
Yeah.
And he's standing, he's like Go. Like he's like doing the Lions.
Dude, that kind of guy's the man.
That shit was so funny.
Oh man.
The last two matches here, though, you can read through them. There's not much here, honestly.
Yeah, so with Desperado and Tanahashi defeating Dick Togo and Evil.
Very standard Hantai versus House of Torture Road to style show match with cheating, crowd brawling, comedy. I did notice Evil got big cheers, though. Kind of a carryover from like that finals from the G1 finals. They started doing the thing on the house shows where they're not going to work because they start both going up on the top turnbuckle and trying to get the poses.
Yeah,
they were doing that, but they thought Evil was going to get boos and he got bigger cheers, so they had to like stop it immediately because I think he was going to get bigger cheers than Tanahashi.
Oh my gosh!
But the fans were happy to see all these dudes. Dick Togo got to work a little bit more than he normally does, and he got put in the Texas Cloverleaf for a loss to Tana.
And then the main event was the collision of the Just Five guys. You had Taichi, Taka Michinoku, and Yuya Uemura defeating Doki Sanada and Yoshinobu Kanemaru in 20 minutes and 42 seconds.
Taichi's hometown, this show was really built for and around him, and the crowd was going crazy. Tons of banners, tons of shirts, tons of signs, huge chants. He brought out the big show gear, so it was really special for him, even though they were just in a gymnasium. And this is only the second time they've ever been to Ishikari ever as a company, so big deal. But it is the most typical road to House of Torture Hantai 6-man tag you could ever expect. Everything was like paint by numbers. They did target Taichi a lot for the heat. He got some big comebacks, but then like after he got the comebacks, there's a ref bump, and all the House of Torture members that were on the match before come out and are running roughshod over the baby faces. Eventually, Tanahashi comes out to make the save to kind of like even up the odds, and Taichi ended up winning with the Black Mephisto on Kanemaru. And then, post-match, he cuts a really emotional promo. He's thanking all the fans for being there. He passes it off to Tanahashi. Last time he's going to be there. And then, Tanahashi does a promo to send him off. And that's about it. Really, honestly, the New Japan-centric matches weren't worth watching unless you just wanted to see, unless you're a big fan of Taichi and you want to see the emotion and the send-off. But the only matches that were, interesting were, the women's tag match, and then the LIJ versus JTO crew. Those two matches were actually kind of interesting, but it's the reason I said you didn't need to watch, Jeremy. It's like I watched it and I'm like, it's just non-canon shit. Like it is cool, it's interesting, but it's not going to matter this week when we jump into Tag League. So it's whatever.
Right, not this show is going to be a show of the year contender or anything.
and even though I liked some of these guys from JTO, none of them struck me as anyone who would or should come back to New Japan. They kind of all fit the mold of what was that one gimmick they were doing where they had all the guys in the openers?
Oh, the Frontier Zone.
Yeah, this was like Frontier Zone type guys, which is it's cool, it's interesting, but it's they're not going to be in Super Juniors. They're not going to be in G1s and shit like that. They're not going to be. They're not coming back. Tsukamoto being an Animal Hamaguchi guy though, and a lot of the LIJ guys are from Animal Hamaguchi's gym. That connection, I thought that was kind of cool. But it's he doesn't even work that much. I was looking at his he's been wrestling for 6 years. He's got less than 100 matches. And my understanding is he's a part-time guy because he's got a shoot job. So yeah,
that means we need to bring back a Lionsgate project. Get these guys some more dates.
No, it means that he needs to team up with who was the one dude who was in finance? The golden haired dude from Strong.
Oh man, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Yeah, that's another dude who's just like that. He's a shoot job dude. He's whatever.
Oh man. So that's gonna do. We have a question here from Doc. He says, with the book closed on Just Five guys now, do you guys reminisce on all their greatest moments?
Nope.
Can't say that I have. Well, that's it for the review of that. And there's only really one other news item that we didn't cover at the beginning of the show, which is Evil is set to face Shun Skywalker at the Purge Night event that let's see, How the Torture Produce show.
Cool. Can't wait.
Then we had a couple other questions here. Def Triangle 720 says, who do you think could use a different scenery for a while? It seems like guys like Hiromu, Okada, Kenta all have some semblance of passion again to how they wrestle and present themselves. Are there any guys on the roster that could take a detour right now and then come back?
Maybe Desperado. Like, because they were intending, well, I don't know if they were intending, but, they did this really long title reign with him, and we all thought they were going to break records and yada, yada. They didn't do that. And maybe they put the title right back on him, and that's fine. But if he loses at Wrestle Kingdom and he's not going heavyweight, he should probably just go away for a little while and kind of get rejuvenated, maybe find a change of scenery. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he needs to go to Freedoms and run the blade every night, but maybe
he would.
Maybe let him do something. I know he would, but maybe let him do something else. Is there anybody else that you're like, they could really benefit from a little time away that you could think of?
No, it's
sad. It's sad because I start thinking of the young guys, but I'm like, they just came back.
Right. Yeah. They kind of need to, get established. I can't really think of anybody else that it would really benefit right now.
Maybe Zach.
Yeah. If Zach, he drops the belt and then you kind of want to kind of put him away for the side and maybe have him do some other stuff. Go back to Rev Pro maybe for a little bit or something like that.
But it's also kind of I guess his question wasn't like saying they need to come back with like a new gimmick or whatever, because Hiromu didn't. But I like when guys go away for them to bring something different, even if it's not like a whole new look. Something, Shingo's another guy that could probably use a little bit of a refresher.
Yeah,
just throwing it out there.
And he also asked, do you think Empire is going to return, or are they silently going to kill and rebrand the faction?
Yeah, I think that shit's dead.
Yeah, I mean, you got Templario and JAY representing the group in the tag league, but we haven't seen Callum Newman since she won. Great O'Con's been losing like crazy. Cobb's gone. TJP is a strong champion, but only works in Mexico.
Once they made once they said that he was going to be the capitan of the group, that's when you knew it was like this is a wrap, dude.
Oh man, so I mean, I could see them blowing the faction up unless when Newman was talking a lot about taking over and all this stuff, and maybe he got hurt or something. I don't know. But
no, I think he rubbed people the wrong. He said that shit about like that the faction was a mess and all that backstage, and he was like he shooted a little bit, and we haven't seen him since then. And I wonder if he without your protector Will Ospreay there and someone advocating for you,
and he said the wrong thing.
He might have been like, and not having necessarily the most productive G1 runs back to back. Like they might have been like, it's just not worth it. They said he was gonna be like Will wasn't like this when he first got here. Will came in and wrestled Kushida, had a 4.5 star match night one. This isn't Will.
Yeah,
you sold us a bad bill of goods.
So I could easily see them blowing this faction up, and it just kind of slowly, just quietly disappears. He also asked, what do you think New Japan should avoid after Wrestle Kingdom 20?
I don't know.
Avoid bad
just
booking.
Sucking. Yeah, just stop sucking. Be good.
Do something compelling.
Have great matches and be raw,
Yeah.
Push guys and let them be raw. Like, fuck it. Be better, dude. I don't know.
Then last question here from Lil.
Not the most compelling answer.
I don't know. I feel like I love Death Triangle. I know he does a lot of like fantasy future booking, but I'm like, let's just get to the Tokyo Dome and see what they do there before we talk about what they do afterwards.
Yeah, but like we've answered this question not too long ago where we're like, what are some things that the company could do right now immediately to improve things that wouldn't even be that dramatic, just small changes. And we gave them ideas. And it's like, I get it. You want to have things for us to talk about, but it's like, I don't know, like the same stuff we always talk about, like stop relying on House of Torture, stop having all the rep bumps. It's bullshit. Not going to do it. Just go out there and ball.
Yeah. So last question here from Live Valuable 381. With Hiromu working in Noah, is there anyone you would like to see come across from Noah for a decent length of time? My pick would be Kiyomiya, global title run at some point, or Ozawa taking on some of the Reiwa, Yuya, KOB, Oiwa guys.
I'm very, very, very hesitant about bringing any top guys from any Japanese domestic company unless they're utilized and booked the right way. And the Kiyomiya use when it came to the Okada feud was like so damaging that it was like, oh God, that was fucking terrible, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the G1, I mean,
you and I spoke with so much confidence because we were like, it's gonna come back. Like, we're like, they had the hot angle, then the big Tokyo Dome match, and Okada, kind of quasi buried him for heat and blah blah blah. We're like, he's gonna get the win back. It's coming up. Like, you guys think the story's over? Story's not over. And we were like so confident of this. And then G1 came and they weren't in the same block. They never interact again. Okada went to America, and it's like, oh shit, he really just buried him. Like, and then they didn't even use him well in the G1, and he's never been used well in New Japan since then. It's like, fuck. And I get it. Like, maybe that's why all this AEW shit that happens to them it's karma. It's coming back.
Yeah.
But like, would it be great to see, like, would I love to see, he said only someone from Noah though, particularly, right?
Yeah.
If you're bringing in someone from Noah, I only want to see it if they're going to be used in a meaningful way. I loved the way that like Marufuji and Nakajima were used in the G1 back in the day when they were brought over, and like, Marufuji went to like the semifinals of the G1 and he like beat the champion, and he like headlined KOPW. Nakajima got a huge, he worked with all the top guys and he got that big match with Shibata. That shit was awesome. That's kind of what we're looking for here. It shouldn't be a situation where like these guys come in, they get fucked up in the tournament, they get buried on the way out, and they just get told like, yo, you're not on our league, kid. Like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, that'd be rough. I think for me, we were talking about bringing in teams for Junior Tag League. Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf, like, I always see just incredible clips from those guys, and hear them
for Tag League.
Yeah, they're always like a highlight of the Noah shows. So like, bring those dudes over. Junior Tag League, World Tag League. That could be a lot of fun. Masaki Kitamiya. Could be fun to bring him over.
Yeah. I like the Masaki Kitamiya. I'm looking at like who's on their roster right now. They've got like 36 active guys in this calendar year. It's not as many as you'd think there would be. Fuck it, I'll say it. It's the thing that no one else wants to say. Bring back Kenta. Yeah. Oh man, I don't have anything else to add. Oh yeah, bring back Kazuyuki Fujita. He needs one last run in New Japan. Big Fuj.
Let's see. I'm scrolling through there.
I mean, Muto's still there as a trainer. Could we get him back? Could we entice Muto potentially? Yeah.
I would have said Go Shiozaki, but he just recently left Noah and went to All Japan.
I've heard it's been good for him to be there, but I mean, like he hasn't been the same guy as he was before that time off and the injury that he had when he was like, you know, wrestler of the year candidate. So
yeah. Who is this?
Great question.
Who's this black dude? No, on the roster. Got a brother out here.
Are you making a joke or is this a real thing?
No, I'm scrolling on the roster page right now. There's this black dude named No.
They have an African American wrestler named Null, Null.
Knull.
Null?
Null. No, I don't know how you say it.
I don't know, bro. What about Odyssey Jones?
Guess you could do that.
Get him in there and challenge for the Never Belt. Strap him up.
Let's look at Super Crazy over.
I don't like this question. I don't like Noah.
Oh, I mean, I think that the true answer would be Yoshitatsu, right?
Bro, if I could bring over anybody, I'd bring over like Nakajima. And no one even likes or wants to work with Nakajima, but like I'd bring over Nakajima because he fucking rocks, or I'd bring over like Kento Miyahara. I probably wouldn't even bring in anybody from Noah if I really like, you know, had the opportunity. Is Kano even still there?
I think so.
Maybe Kano. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for the show. Next week, I'll be back to review first 2 nights of Super Junior Tag League and cover all this news. So remember, if you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. You can also make a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure to connect with us on social media on X and Blue Sky. Follow us at KI Strong Style, at Socialplex, and at Jeremy Donovan, at YB_Josh and Liger. On Facebook, follow us at facebook.com/socialsuplex. On Reddit, I'm the Keeping It Strong Style. I keep forgetting to change this. On Reddit, I'm the Pro Black Guy, just Keeping It Strong Style. Join our Social Suplex Discord server to interact with us and other wrestling fans. You can email me, Jeremy, at socialsuplex.com. Check out all those shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio with Rich Latta and James Boyd. All things Elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps, AEW Adventure with MK's Magic Mare. Wrestling Art with Chris Things. Tunnel Talk with Allie and Aaliyah. And the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. And we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Ichiban.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.